want to miss. My guy, my guy. That is the truth. And that's how I feel about it. But what you need to do is check them out and remember that they are regulated by the Insurance Regulatory Authority. Meanwhile, how about you and I delve into this conversation? My machines are doing some magical things to me, but we'll still make this happen. So I'm joined by Evelyn Munene, Product and Marketing Lead, Samsung Electronics East Africa. Good morning, Evelyn.
Good morning. Good morning.
Evelyn has got some jokes on her. I'm kind of interested to know what are the biggest drivers of this change and where you think the next wave of disruption will be coming from.
So this particular industry has really transformed. We have about 37.4 million devices now connected across different mobile networks.
Yeah.
It's driven by affordability. It's driven by digital literacy. It's driven to it. Their life gets easier, to help us do mundane tasks much easier. And it's a concept that we run across people who are using it for very, shall I say, detailed work to really think about research and development.
Everything, news, history, even personal memories. This slow decay of shared reality risks fracturing societies in ways far deeper than just misinformation, ultimately undermining the foundations of democracy, empathy, and collective.
there'll be boundaries towards it. There's regulation that's actually also moving in quite well to make sure that then we're safeguarding data that is collected and processed. You as the owner of the data have the right to say what should be done with your data, how long should it be stored, and these regulations will then help to mitigate some of the bad that could come out of these innovations.
We'll delve into some of those bads a bit later on. Right now, though, we're still sticking with, an overview, including of this country when it comes to, the technology. And it's also known as a tech leader. In fact, it's been called the Silicon Savannah, the 254, right? How do you see our position in the global tech ecosystem evolving in the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
Absolutely. I think for this country, we're well ahead of most of the African countries that we have here. And I think that's driven a lot by some of the innovations that have come before, like the mobile money innovations around device financing as well. You could see that there's a lot of interest in making sure that we further increase the innovations to help our population get better at some of the things that you're doing. So I see Kenya really leading into having more innovations, and not just innovations for the sake of innovations, but innovations that help the needs of the people that actually live here. So that's how I see this panning out.
Well, it'll be quite interesting. Let's talk about one of the things that I think is spurring technology growth in this country. It has got to be the internet. Actually, if I can find it very quickly, there we go. Internet costs by country. So some of the most expensive places to have internet, and this is average per month, the most expensive one is the Solomon Islands. That's at $457.08 average per month, followed by Burundi, which is $305 a month. In a country like that is unbelievable, right? You just, I can't fathom that. And then you have the likes of British Virgin Islands and Bermuda, which Bermuda is, the fifth most expensive at $185. But now we come to the cheapest. And this is quite interesting because Sudan has the cheapest internet. And I'd love to hear if Samsung have their fingers in there, what technology and growth of technology looks like in Sudan, because they have
Speaking of South and South Sudan, for that matter, so Samsung East Africa does cover Sudan as one of the territories that we actually distribute our products in, and there's massive growth in Sudan, right? Say for the maybe instability that they've been having, when it comes back, when that stability comes back, the growth path is quite astronomical. So I'd say there's a direct correlation between the affordability of internet and the advancements of technology, as well as the digital literacy that comes with it, right? So the spread and the coverage of the broadband across most of the country. There's still the aspect of whether most Kenyans can still afford this, The affordability is still there. It's still, we've moved the needle with the buy now, pay later schemes that have actually come up to help this. But there's still a long way to go in terms of the regulations, the taxations that we have, the taxation level that we have, that then allows for this to then really spread as we would want it to. We are not where we're supposed to be, but I don't think we are moving that slowly. I think we're heading in the right direction.
All right, so it should be a bit.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll
definitely get there.
All right,
and
so
probably faster than most of the countries in this continent.
Oh, that's a good hope. That's what I hope for as well, because the future of these kids, man, you don't want them competing. You want them competing with the rest of the world, especially the more advanced countries.
switch on your TV and it takes you to sleep, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a way you cannot connect your TV to your phone and to your watch, and it's able to switch off once it knows that you're asleep. Okay. So that's AI for you. You don't have to wake up in the middle of the night and find you left the TV on, so it disrupted your TV. You know your sleep, right? So those are some of the things that you can do when you integrate your ecosystem to make sure that then it works for you, right? And it's supporting your healthy living all along the way.
At the same time, there's a danger of having that connected ecosystem, because one thing goes wrong, or for example, the information goes out, then we have a problem. What parameters or what have you put into place as an organization or as a company, Samsung, to ensure that all these data, as you pointed out earlier, is secure?
Yeah. So we do have security layers. We have a whole fabric called Next that sits within all our devices.
Yeah.
And this fabric is set such that it keeps your data anonymized, it keeps your data encrypted, it keeps your data as per what you advise us to do, right? And even if you don't give that advice, it's within the policies that are set, the GDPR policies that are set within your region, right? It will take care of things like how long that data is supposed to be held, 7 years, if you don't actually give the direction as to how long that is to be. So we do have that, it's a big part of our business to make sure that security within our devices is well kept within the cloud system that we have, that is secure and it's encrypted and it's yours, it's your data. So you do with it what it is that you want to do.
Just a quick one, going back, we're about to go into sports, we'll come back and have this conversation further, but just a quick one, you said Gen Zs, and you gave an example of Nairobi on a Sunday.
Yeah.
You go to Nairobi town, the city, and you will see things.
Correct.
And it's great that the government realized that, and you're not forced to pay for licenses, so that's not good.
Yeah.
But you did mention that generation. Now I'm kind of curious to know what the market share looks like in terms of age when it comes to your technology from your perspective.
So for Gen Z, when you look at the market share that we have, and it's purely based on the fact that we have good capabilities, even in mid-tier phones, they are quite affordable.
Yes, they are.
Right? So our capabilities are not just for the high-end devices. We also have mid-tier devices that we are now starting to embed AI capabilities to actually help this generation. So I'd say we have about 30% penetration into that Gen Z market in terms of the share, and that's growing pretty fast. Actually, that's the fastest growing segment when it comes to customer base. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. We at least know that. What about the older generation? That's where the problem is, isn't it?
Yes.
It's like we refuse to move with the time.
We refuse to move with the time, but I think it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time when you figure out some of the things that you keep doing can be much easier to do with the right device.
Absolutely. We'll come back and talk about, access, inclusion, affordability of technological devices. For example, AI. Also, you have these options, but some of them are costly to some of us. We'll also talk about trends and ethics and the future, because it's becoming very dangerous. Actually, someone sent me a voice note of myself saying something that I am certain I have never said. And I listened to myself and I was like, that is scary. Yeah. And now there are videos, and you think of the older generation like my mom, and you could just confuse these people and steal from these people or put them in danger. And that is something we'd like to talk about as we look into the future. Meanwhile, how about we look into the present? And the present screams Harambee Stars.
It wasn't just a car lunch, it was the last smoky in the fridge, shared between friends, because someone burnt the rice again. It wasn't fancy, but it was perfect, because joy lives in the small wins and full stomachs.
Capital Sports Update, where sports is taken seriously.
Yeah, we take it seriously. Heck, Harambee Stars will be taken serious by any other opponent that they face. Next up for them is Zambia, but we will not talk about tomorrow. We'll talk about, today, considering yesterday. Stars head coach Benny McCarthy is actually saluting you Kenyan fans for roaring. Ain't that the truth?
That is the truth. I know most people think working with them who are have your phone for the rest of the time to actually create more business. Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of impact coming in with these schemes that are actually making these phones that much more affordable, and then also increasing the penetration of phones using these particular schemes. So there's a lot more credit sales than we have cash sales now. Which is a good thing, because then we're making it, more affordable and having that digital inclusion for all the people of all walks of life.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know what else I think would reduce the cost is if we could do local assembly.
Yes, and that's actually, we do have a Kenya assembly line already in place that is bringing in phones which are as low as 5,000 shillings, 7,000 shillings. And this will just become, as the economies of scale grow, this will get better.
Yeah.
So we're actually headed in the place where that won't be a topic of discussion anymore, whether you can have a mobile phone or not, right? It's already going to be much more subsidized. Then you have the options of either paying in cash or paying it over a period of time.
What about trade-ins? Now, like I said, traveling a lot has helped me see that.
Yeah.
It's so easy,
True.
especially for people, for example, in the US. It's give this in with mobile operators, obviously the ones who make it happen, but also there must be a system that makes it easy for that to happen. Why don't we have a situation like that in Kenya? I know a few people will be like, okay, bring your old phone and then trade in, but then it's almost like you might as well just buy a new phone and keep that one and hand it down to someone else, because it doesn't really make sense to me. Why can't we ever think of going that way? Or why can't Samsung help us go that way in order to help this country grow in the direction the rest of the world is going?
Actually, trading programs do exist.
They do?
They do.
Where?
They do. We have a couple of partners who do that. One of them is Badili. We do have programs like that. But I'd agree with you that they need to be more robust. I'd agree with you that we need to make those programs much more, create the awareness about these particular programs. And that's a direction that we're looking to get into in future, actually the very near future. So that then it becomes that much more easier for you to upgrade your phone every other time you need to and get better service.
Yeah.
But then there's also the question of what happens to what you trade in. We also have to be able to have facilities that are able to refurbish these phones and get them working to, another generation, so to speak. So it's a whole, a whole list of things that need to happen for that to be that much more robust and effective. But it's a road that you've already started to travel, and very soon we'll be bringing those programs to you.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
My mind is all over the place. First and foremost, did you go to Kasarani?
No, but I do follow that very well, and I would like to join the rest of the Kenyans to actually congratulate the Kenyan football team. And we're very proud of them. Absolutely proud of them.
Absolutely proud of them, right? So I saw a lot of people doing a lot of things at Kasarani, courtesy of technology, AI to be specific, right? But I also saw, and we're seeing what money can do to motivate. and then what motivation can actually achieve. So they were promised to per win 1 million, which is a story, 500,000 for draw. They have won 2 games, drawn 1, and it just spurs them to push themselves further. And I was telling Philaris earlier, the best thing about this is the fact that I can see that while they're playing for the money now, ultimately they look back and go like, oh wait, so we can win big games. We can beat Morocco.
We had it all along.
Yeah, we had it all along.
Yeah.
So it kind of shows you, oh, now we can showcase. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you and I'm thinking then the government, for example, your company, Samsung, for another example, why don't we motivate the youth to bring up these apps? Like, what kind of support are we giving them to create and be part of the technological advancement that the world is going through? How are we empowering them?
I couldn't agree with you more. We need more collaboration with, the private sector and the government to actually bring these talents to life and actually bring more innovation. And I know the government has gone into creating these, what are they called, technology hubs all around the country.
Yeah.
And that's something that we're watching closely, even as Samsung, to see how do we then bring it from having just a structure to then bringing the technology to where they are, to then bringing the best practice to where they are, and really giving them the opportunity to actually then grow into themselves. Like you say, we had it all along, and I'm sure we still have it. We still got, the tank is not empty. So those are some of the things that we're looking into in the near future as well, just to see how do we then follow the track and support and making sure that our customers, because ultimately they are our customers, are then able to then bring us to the next generation of innovation and really drive this through for our continent and for our context. Yeah.
I love that you said the private sector and the government need to collaborate, which is something that we're hoping you guys will do, especially when it comes to the trends, ethics of technology, and specifically AI, right? Because with it, I saw in the US, Trump actually made sure that if you create an image of someone, a nude image or something, you actually can find yourself into big trouble. Now we saw in this country what the youth can do with AI. The president in a casket and all that thing, which was absolutely crazy. Then it flowed out of Kenya into Tanzania. We attacked Museveni, we attacked Suluhu. It's a big danger to it.
Yes, there
and
is.
We're not even getting into the privacy and data protection. So how are you guys working towards ensuring that we have some sense of sanity and putting in parameters and measures to ensure that there's decency and ethics in a generation who really don't care much about decency or ethics? It's about right here, right now, my feelings must be heard and it must be seen how I feel.
Well, I think as technology grows, there needs to be some context and boundaries and regulations around it. And I know the government is really working to see how they can bring in regulations that are not restrictive
Yeah, because
to
you
creativity.
can't kill off freedom either.
You can't kill that off. But then also looking at the boundaries of where you're infringing the rights of other people as well. And keeping that balance. It's not an easy balance. This is a new thing. It's a new topic. So there's a lot of lobbying with the regulatory bodies that are there to see what is it that we can do to make sure that this technology works for good more than it works for bad. And finding where those boundaries are, where you're infringing in someone else's rights and your own rights to create and be creative. So as the private sector, we have the responsibility to keep having these open discussions and making sure that the discussions are moving into places where these boundaries can then be set in a way that's supportive of our customers. It's not going to be a one-shot, it's a thing that has to be continuously, we have to continuously engage.
Yeah, correct.
And make sure that then the right boundaries are put in. To make sure that it's a healthy and good thing. It's innovation for good. Having said that, I know there'll always be the bad ones.
Yeah, that's
there'll always be the bad ones, and we're hoping that then the laws that come by will help to then curb that, and then we can have a much more sane way of using this technology.
Absolutely, and that's something we're looking forward to in terms of the future, where we can all be responsible in how we use this technology.
Exactly.
That's speaking of the future and experiences. 10 years from now, what are we looking at? Because a few years ago, it's insane that we used to have payphones where you would have to call someone and say Tukutane town at 10, and if you're not there at 10, I'll wait for an hour, maybe 2 hours, because how else am I going to see you, right? It was that. To now, you're walking with not just a means of communication in your
so many